It is, it's the ultimate travel paradox. For anyone flying out of Southern California, the actual flight at 30,000 feet is usually the most relaxing part of your entire day.
Oh, absolutely. It's completely backward.
Right. Like you're in your seat, you're sipping a ginger ale, maybe watching a movie. The hard part is already over because the real turbulence that happens on the ground, just trying to get your physical body to the terminal.
Yeah, the modern travel experience is just entirely inverted in that region. The air travel is the predictable part. The ground logistics, the sprawling, highly unpredictable asphalt connecting your front door to the departure gate, that is where your trip is either made or completely broken.
And that is exactly what we are digging into today for this deep dive. We're looking at a pretty comprehensive business guide and blog published by an industry insider.
Right, PTL Executive.
Exactly, PTL Executive, which is a professional transportation and limousine service based out of Riverside, California. So today's mission is to deconstruct their guide. We really want to figure out exactly what it takes for you to reliably conquer the Southern California travel gauntlet without, losing your mind.
Which is easier said than done.
Oh, totally. We want to extract the core mechanics of stress-free logistics from this text because, honestly, those mechanics can be applied to any high-stakes travel situation you might face anywhere in the world.
Calling it a gauntlet almost barely does it justice, to be honest. The source material paints a very clear picture of this specific regional geography, and it is a logistical anomaly.
A total anomaly.
You have millions of travelers constantly trying to access these major, sprawling, highly congested hubs. We are talking about Los Angeles International Airport, so LAX, and Ontario International Airport, ONT, and John Wayne Airport, SNA, down in Orange County. These aren't just airports. They are massive gravitational centers pulling in traffic from this heavily decentralized, incredibly car-dependent grid.
Okay, let's unpack this because navigating to LAX or SNA on, say, a Tuesday afternoon isn't just a drive. It's an escape room.
An escape room?
Yeah, an escape room where the puzzles change every 5 minutes. If we look at the geography, Southern California's freeway system isn't a simple grid. It operates much more like a biological circulatory system.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. You have these massive arterial freeways, the 405, the 91, and they are just pumping millions of vehicles across vast distances. If there's a single blockage, like, say, a fender bender on the 405...
everything stops.
Exactly. It doesn't just slow down that one road. It spikes the blood pressure of the entire region. The traffic bleeds over into the surface streets, the capillaries causing these cascading delays literally everywhere.
That circulatory system analogy explains precisely why standard travel planning completely collapses in this region.
Yeah.
The source text points out that common frustrations you might experience in a smaller city, like maybe a slight parking delay or a ride showing up 10 minutes late, those are fatal errors in Southern California.
Because there's no margin for error.
Exactly. Because the distances are so vast, a minor delay at the start of your journey amplifies as you move through that congested system. Like, a 10-minute late start can easily result in hitting a major arterial bottleneck at the exact wrong time.
And suddenly you're stuck.
Right. It transforms a 60-minute drive into a 2.5-hour ordeal. It is the literal difference between making your flight or standing on the curb watching your plane push back from the gate.
Which brings up a really interesting tension. If the freeways are this volatile, how do you actually guarantee you make that flight?
Well, that's the big question.
The guide tackles this by drawing a very hard line between standard on-demand ride shares and scheduled professional transportation. But I kind of have to push back on this premise for a second.
Wow. How so?
Well, we live in an era where you can pull a supercomputer out of your pocket, tap a glass screen, and summon a car to your exact GPS coordinates in like 3 minutes. So is booking a professional airport service actually fundamentally different from just using a standard rideshare app?
What's fascinating here is how the source answers that exact pushback.
Okay.
They do it by separating all ground travel into 2 distinct operational categories. You have reactive transit, and you have proactive transit. And the mechanics behind them are entirely different.
Ah, okay. So reactive transit makes sense for the ride shares. They were just bouncing off the nearest cell tower ping to find a driver, right?
Exactly.
But proactive implies they're actually forecasting the traffic before I even book my ticket.
You hit the nail on the head. When you use an on-demand rideshare app, you are engaging in a reactive algorithm. The system is designed to optimize the network's efficiency at that exact second.
Right.
The driver happens to be nearby, they react to your ping, and they react to whatever route the GPS feeds them in that exact moment. The app doesn't know you have a flight to catch.
It doesn't care.
No, it just knows you want to go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But professional transportation companies, according to the text, specialize specifically in aviation logistics. They are entirely proactive. They work backward from your boarding time.
So they're doing the math for you.
They are running a complex logistical equation before you even wake up.
Wow.
The guide details how these providers actively monitor historical traffic conditions for that specific day of the week. They factor in the time of day, and they even account for TSA wait times at specific terminals.
That's a lot of variables.
It is. They mathematically design a buffer to ensure you hit a very specific departure window. A reactive app driver is just trying to complete the current trip to get the next fare. But a proactive professional service is managing a dedicated asset, the vehicle and the chauffeur, with the singular goal of protecting your itinerary.
That structural difference is huge. I mean, if you are relying on reactive transit for a high-stakes, time-sensitive event like a flight, you are basically crossing your fingers.
Yeah, you really are.
You're hoping the app's localized algorithm happens to align with your global travel needs. And as we just established with the circulatory system analogy, hope is a terrible logistical strategy in Southern California.
It is a recipe for immense anxiety.
Right. So if proactive transit is the mathematical solution to this problem, how do you identify a service that is actually doing this math?
Well, the guide lays out 8 specific rules.
Yeah, these 8 mechanical criteria for evaluating dependable transportation. I want us to really synthesize these mechanics because they're essentially a blueprint for how to engineer reliability.
We can group these 8 rules into 3 distinct phases of the journey. The first phase is the pre-trip logistics, which encompasses their first 2 rules, which are advanced booking and vetting.
Okay, let's start with advanced booking.
The source emphasizes that advanced booking isn't just about securing a seat. It is about locking your itinerary into their dispatch geometry. They highlight how vital this is for early morning departures or late-night arrivals.
Because at 3-4:30 in the morning, the reactive apps might just show you a spinning wheel of doom.
Exactly.
Like there might not be any drivers awake in your suburb at all.
Precisely. Reserving early secures the physical asset. And then the second rule, vetting, is how you verify that the company's math actually works.
How do you do that?
The guide stresses checking customer feedback on platforms like Yelp,
Huh.
but specifically looking for mentions of punctuality.
Yeah.
You aren't just looking for 5 stars.
Well, you want the right kind of 5 stars.
Yes. You are looking for evidence of operational consistency. You want proof that they successfully navigate that morning rush hour day after day.
Okay, that moves us into the second phase of their blueprint, which is route management. This covers Rule 3, local expertise, and Rule 4, real-time traffic monitoring. And here's where it gets really interesting to me.
Oh.
Because the text doesn't just say the driver needs to know the freeway numbers. It specifically mentions avoiding unnecessary delays at airport access points.
No, access points are crucial.
Right. Getting to the perimeter of LAX is one thing, but navigating the labyrinth of the terminal horseshoe without getting trapped behind a wall of idling buses, that requires a completely different, highly specialized skill set.
It requires an intimate knowledge of the microgeography. I mean, a reactive GPS might tell a driver to take the departure level at LAX because it looks shorter on the map.
Classic GPS move.
Right, but a driver with local expertise knows that at 8:00 a.m. on a Monday, the departure level is basically a parking lot.
Total gridlock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the mathematically faster route is to drop the passenger on the arrivals level and just have them take the elevator up.
Which means you aren't just paying for a clean car. You are essentially hiring I'd call it a traffic Sherpa.
I like that. A traffic Sherpa.
Think about it. You are renting this local professional's highly specialized hyper-regional brain. You are paying them to safely guide you through the perilous, unpredictable terrain of the Southern California transit system so you don't have to expend the mental energy navigating it yourself.
There is a profound psychological benefit to that Sherpa concept, which the source actually touches on. By delegating the route planning, the dynamic traffic monitoring, and the time management to a professional, the passenger undergoes this massive cognitive shift. You stop being the project manager of your own transit.
You are buying back your own mental bandwidth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that shifts the traveler out of a state of pre-flight anxiety. You are no longer gripping the armrest, staring at the red brake lights, calculating if you have time to make it through security.
Sweating bullets in the backseat.
Exactly. You have outsourced that stress to the Sherpa.
You are neutralizing the ground turbulence so you can actually enjoy the trip. Which leads us perfectly into the third phase of the guide's blueprint, which is the physical environment.
Right, the car itself.
Yeah. If you are going to be sitting in a car for an hour and a half navigating from Riverside to LAX, the physical space you occupy becomes incredibly important. This covers the final 4 rules from the source.
Vehicle comfort, fleet maintenance, professional chauffeur etiquette, and baggage assistance. The guide is very clear that because these trips often exceed an hour of pure drive time, a cramped backseat is unacceptable. They emphasize the necessity of luxury sedans and spacious interiors. But it isn't just about feeling fancy,
What is it about?
It is about creating a controlled, productive environment.
Right, because if you are stuck in a vascular blockage on the 91 freeway, your physical environment is your only defense against the chaos outside.
Exactly.
That is why Rule 6, fleet maintenance and cleanliness, is so critical. A mechanical failure on a busy arterial freeway doesn't just make you late, it strands you in a highly dangerous environment.
And Rules 7 and 8, the chauffeur etiquette and baggage assistance, those complete that controlled environment.
Yeah.
The driver isn't just operating the vehicle. They are managing the physical transfer of your luggage, ensuring the temperature is comfortable, and providing a discreet, quiet space.
But let's be realistic for a second here. Hiring a proactive traffic Sherpa to maintain a pristine, climate-controlled mobile environment that comes at a premium.
It certainly does.
If I am just taking my family on a casual vacation to Hawaii, maybe I roll the dice with a reactive rideshare app. So who is actually losing enough money on missed flights to justify engineering this level of logistical precision?
Well, the guide specifically zeroes in on the demographic that cannot afford to roll the dice, and that's business and corporate teams, the corporate commute.
Ah, okay. For a corporate team, time literally is money.
Exactly.
A missed flight isn't just a ruined vacation day for them. It is a missed keynote speech. It is a blown client pitch.
It's a huge deal.
It is a cascading logistical nightmare that could cost a department thousands, if not millions of dollars in lost opportunities.
The text notes that these corporate passengers require executive transportation because they need to transform that unpredictable hour and a half of drive time into productive work time.
They can't just be scrolling on their phone.
No, they need a quiet, comfortable space to take conference calls, review documents, and guarantee punctual arrivals for high-stakes meetings. They aren't just paying for a ride. They are paying for a mobile office that guarantees delivery.
So what does this all mean? Which brings us to the primary case study anchoring this entire source text.
PPL executive.
Yeah, Perfect Transportation Limousine and Sedans. The guide gives us their exact blueprint for operations. They are the ones providing this executive limo service, these luxury sedans, and this specialized corporate transit across the region. And what is crucial here is where they are physically headquartered.
Riverside, California.
Exactly. They're based in Riverside.
That geographic location is highly strategic, actually. Riverside is the heart of the Inland Empire, which is this massive booming hub for corporate logistics, warehousing, and business development in Southern California.
But it is also geographically isolated from the major international airports.
Very much so.
Riverside is roughly 60 miles from LAX. Depending on the time of day, a 60-mile drive in Southern California can take anywhere from 1 hour to 3.5 hours.
Which is a terrifying variance.
Right. That massive variance is exactly why a company based in Riverside would need to perfect the science of proactive transit. They are moving high-value corporate clients across the longest, most unpredictable stretches of the region's circulatory system.
They're essentially operating a high-stakes corridor between the Inland Empire business hubs and the coastal aviation hubs.
So let's talk about the operation itself. We have a transportation company moving executives across volatile freeways. But there is a highly specific, totally fascinating detail in the source text regarding how they actually execute this.
Oh, this is the best part.
It completely bridges the gap between the ground and the sky.
You are referring to the integration detail in their FAQ section.
I am. It says you can view PTL executive's business location on Google Maps, which is standard. I mean, everyone is on Google Maps.
Yeah.
But then it notes that you can also view its aviation listing on FlightAware.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that one detail reveals the true sophistication of proactive transit. Because FlightAware is an aviation data platform.
Right.
It tracks real-time air traffic, flight paths, transponder pings, and gate arrivals.
So why on earth would a car service be listed on an aviation tracker?
Think about it.
Like, if I am in a luxury sedan heading to LAX and my flight gets delayed by 2 hours because of a storm over the Midwest, I do not want to sit at the airport for an extra 2 hours. How does the ground service know to adjust?
Because they are tethered to the aircraft. A ground transportation company, having an aviation listing, means they are deeply systematically integrated into the actual aviation ecosystem.
Wow.
They aren't just looking at freeway traffic, they are tracking the planes in real time.
So they are matching the ground logistics seamlessly with the air logistics.
Exactly. They are continuously monitoring the tailwinds, the holding patterns, and the gate changes of your specific flight.
That's incredible.
If your Boeing 737 is delayed by headwinds over the Rockies, their dispatch system sees it. The ground transit adjusts automatically. The chauffeur slows down or reroutes. The passenger doesn't have to make a frantic phone call from the back seat because the Sherpa already knows.
They are essentially linking the luxury sedan on the 91 freeway directly to the transponder of the aircraft in the sky.
Yes.
It represents a complete fusion of ground data and air travel data. The car service is no longer just a ride. It is functioning as a mobile extension of the airport terminal itself.
It is the ultimate expression of proactive transit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have removed every single variable of uncertainty from the passenger's plate.
That is just a brilliant way to operationalize reliability. So, to pull all of this together for you, the listener, mastering travel in a sprawling, highly congested region like Southern California is not just about finding a ride to the airport.
Not at all.
It is about acknowledging the unique, volatile geographical reality you are up against. You simply cannot treat a trip to LAX or Ontario like a quick drive across town.
The environment simply will not allow it.
It requires a paradigm shift. It requires utilizing advanced planning, securing local expertise, and relying on active traffic and flight monitoring to protect your time and your peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Whether you are traveling for a well-deserved vacation out of John Wayne, or you are coordinating a high-stakes corporate deployment to LAX, the real journey does not start when you hand the agent your boarding pass.
No, it starts way earlier.
It begins the exact moment you lock your front door. And by delegating that very first, highly volatile leg of the trip to proactive professionals who do the math for you, you can effectively salvage the entire experience.
And, looking closely at that flight-aware detail leaves us with a really provocative question to consider.
Yeah.
If private ground transportation is becoming this hyper-specialized where they're tracking real-time air traffic, monitoring micro-regional freeway data, and effectively operating as a mobile extension of the airport terminal, how long will it be until the dividing line between airlines and car services disappears entirely? We might be rapidly moving toward a future where you no longer book a car and then separately book a flight. Instead, you simply book a single, unbroken logistical algorithm that seamlessly manages your physical body from the moment you stand up from your living room couch directly to your final destination across the globe.